Fine. Okay, in our previous class, we were discussed about noise and vibration. Just give me a minute. I think my system is settling down. Okay. Yeah. I wish you everybody happy Sri Rama Navami. First of all, who are celebrating today. So, 1 second. Yeah. That's a bit slow. Okay. Let me confirm you are able to see my screen, right? Everybody. Just say yes in chat box.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Acha. Now I'm putting everybody in mute. If you have any questions, you can pin me in chat so that I'll unmute and we can continue for the sake of or for the benefit of everybody to avoid the disturbance in between. Okay. Once again, welcome back to the session today, and thank you so much for everybody joining today. Almost 20 number, very good number. And sorry for the delay due to some technical issues. We couldn't able to start in time. So we'll continue. So today we are talking about the static electricity. This is also one of the topic in the safety engineering 1. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Yes. Any idea what is mean by static electricity? You can put your answers in chat box. Have you experienced static electricity and ఏంటి ఎప్పుడైనా మీరు ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ చేశారా దాన్ని? Have you got any electric shock or have you felt the discharge of static electricity from you to any specific conductor? Have you noticed? Or else I can unmute also so that you can tell better instead of, yeah, you can unmute and you can speak. Anybody want to respond? No one?
Sir, so this is Senthil.
Yes, Senthil, please.
Yeah. So I observed that so sometimes if you go nearby TVs or nearby mirror, so our when you're close to standing to the TV or mirror, in our hairs, in the body hairs, and which is in the hand, it will get attracted by the screens or but maybe some electron due to the electron impulsion or static.
Correct. Yeah, the difference in electrons or imbalance of electrons. Okay. Okay, very good example. Yeah, this is, I think most of the people have been experienced this situation. Good example, Senthil. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I can give you one more basic example. If you see any play stations or play area, especially in the communities, they'll have a sliding bar. The kids are used to slide down. If it is a plastic made out of a plastic, so if you can every time, whenever your kid slides for two to three times, whenever you are going and helping them to climb that specific play area, there also you will feel that sensation, the shocking sensation. And apart from that, you walk for a certain distance and suddenly came and you're trying to knock your door, being it is in a mechanical or sorry, being it is in a metallic handle, there is a sudden discharge from you to the door handle. There also you will feel a sensation. Another one, you are doing any ironing of your clothes, especially some of the clothes, I'm not able to recall the specific material, you will feel the cracking sound. And also if you see some of the nylon or silicone bed sheets also, if you see any bed sheet, when used for the winter, those bed sheets also chances of high static generation. Even the sports clothes where you're using sportswear, the sportswear also used to have the generation of static electricity. Basically, we'll see how it is. 1 second, I'll keep it in presentation mode. Yeah. Static electricity is an imbalance of electric charges within or surface of the materials or between the materials. The charge remains same until it is able to move away by the means of electric current or electrical discharge. So how it is? Until unless it is not getting an opportunity to discharge. How it will discharge? Because of there is a higher positive side or a negative side. It will trying to get the balance. Whenever the charge it is getting balance, till the time it will get keep on accumulating. It is in a negative charge. Whenever it goes to a highly positive charge, so it is trying to balance. Then it will escape or it will trying to jump. Maybe this experiment, the third side or the comb or duven తీసుకొని మీరు మీ hair ని బాగా rub చేసి, maybe everybody would have done this experiment in your lower studies or below 10th class SLC. So there also the pieces of paper it trying to get attracted to the comb because of imbalance of electrons. Okay, this is what exactly we'll see more deep into it how it works. So if we see electrostatic charges is a charge or importance of static electricity is increasing the use of insulating plastic. Why it is increased? The importance when we are kids, we are not much aware. Even people don't care about this static electricity. They have not given any interest on it. Then over a period of time, the chemical factors have been increased. The material which are prone to the static electricity and resulting in catastrophic accidents or severe accidents, it is giving or an impact of more property damage. Then people are started thinking about it. Until unless they don't have any effect, people will be happy. Once they start getting trouble, then they will think of. The similar way, because of using of this insulating plastic, rubber, chemicals and petrochemicals, films and flame-proof flammable gases and vapors and dust, this importance have been increased or the awareness has been came into the picture to talk more about this static electricity. ఎప్పుడైతే మనము ఈ కెమికల్స్ కానీ ఇన్సులేటెడ్ ప్లాస్టిక్ కానీ రబ్బర్స్ కానీ కెమికల్ యూసేజ్ కానీ పెట్రోకెమికల్స్ యూసేజ్ కానీ ఫిలిమ్స్ యూసేజ్ కానీ పెరిగిందో అక్కడ మనకి ఈ స్టాటిక్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ యొక్క అంటే దాని వల్ల వచ్చే ప్రమాదాల గురించి తెలియడం జరిగింది. దెన్ పీపుల్ స్టార్టెడ్ వర్కింగ్ అరౌండ్ ది స్టాటిక్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ. The generation of static electricity is a surface phenomena associated with the contact separation of dissimilar surfaces. When it is happened, it will be on the surface of the material. It is over the surface of the material. It will not go inside the material. It will be surface on the material. It is because of collision, separation, and also friction. It is to happen. We'll see in the subsequent slides. Basically, it will happen because of a collision, because of friction, and also because of separation of two dissimilar surfaces. So friction is not necessary to generate electrostatic charge, but however, it increases the release of electrons and also the production of ionized particles. The conditions necessary for generation of static electricity are a means of electrostatic charge generation, a means of accumulation and generated, and there must be a discharge. So basically, the friction is not necessarily to generate, but it will boost up the generation of electrons. Like how oxygen will give boost up to the fire to ignite more or to burn more. Similarly, this friction will give an extra additional benefit or additional scope. The generation of electrons to create the static electricity. And if you see the generation, how it will be, there will be a charge generation. This is how the flow. Once it gets generated, there will be charge, then it will get accumulation, then it will go into discharge. There must be a discharge of accumulated charge to give a sensation or effect of static electricity. If the discharge, the separation is an adequate energy, it will give a spark. If it is accumulated more, then there we can see a spark or visible spark in the especially in the nights. In the daytime, definitely we can't able to see it. Especially in the nights, you can see the spark of due to the discharge of this accumulated charges. If you see the static charge is first generated, first it generate avutundi, then it's get accumulated and lastly discharges. So ఏమవుతుంది, generate avutundi, స్టోర్ అవుతుంది, డిశ్చార్జ్ అయిపోతుంది, అంటే అక్కడి నుంచి బ్యాలెన్స్ అయిపోతుంది. అవుట్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ 3 స్టేజెస్ ఓన్లీ ద లాస్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ విజిబుల్. In the sense that discharge only can be seen. You can't see the accumulation, you can't see the generation, you can see the discharge. Now we'll see the static charge may occur due to a contact charging by the two dissimilar materials in contact, a plastic films passing over the metal rollers. So because these two are dissimilar materials or different materials, there will be a plastic rolling machine or plastic rolling factory. There the interaction between the metal roller as well as the plastic film, there it will give a chance to generate the electricity. And powders flowing through the duct or people walking over the carpets may be highly charged. So one is powder flowing to the ducts or flowing to the hoppers. Maybe you're working in any chemical factory while you're charging the powders to the reactors or ANFDs or any filters or centrifuges, or people are walking on the carpets, chances to generate static electricity. And liquid flow through the pipeline generate a charge due to the absorption of impurity ions, and this may rapidly occurs when filters are used with the petroleum products. So here the thing is, it is about the impurity in ions or the materials, and also whenever you have a filters in between the pipelines or you're using any filtration process, there the static electricity generation will be very high, because the filter will obstruct the flow of the material. The metal get hit by the filter, then there is a collision, then it is get separated, in the sense there is a force movement which is happened through the filter, and due to the dissimilar surfaces there in the filtration process, the electricity generation will be very high. And also spray electrification or fragmentation of liquid surface produces charged droplets. So you are spraying or you are splashing any material, then in that case also there will be a chance of generation. And splash filling of tank may be from the charged mist or in a tanker, or inductive sparks may be come from the charged clouds or generated by the water sprays for cleaning. Also steam leak also produces charge on isolated metal, and also nearby pipelines of CO2 discharge from fire extinguisher may also generate a charge. So it is not that every material, two dissimilar materials, the surfaces which is getting contacted or which is getting rubbed or which is getting separated, there will be a chance of generation of this static electricity. Now we'll see some of the examples. We have seen the theoretical example. Now you can see a pictorial representation how a charge can generate, అంటే ఎలాంటి కేసెస్ లో మనకి జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. ఇందాక మనం చూసినట్టుగా nozzle, a liquid through a metal nozzle generate a charge, and also unwounding of a plastic or a paper film, and also non-conducting solvent following through a metal pipe, and stirring with in the reactor, that is also will generate. And also non-conductive liquid or a powder flowing through a glass or a plastic pipe and generates a charge. And also a powder flowing through a plastic pipe generates. Here we have to remember one thing. It is about all non-conductive materials. So if it is in a conductive material, it will get absorbed, it will get drained automatically. Whenever it is come to a non-conductive material, like it is an insulating type of material where the charge cannot be allowing them to pass on or move on, then this charge gets accumulated and this charge gets generated. Okay. Now we'll see what are the operations and the machines will generate this static electricity. If it with respect to the operations, and ఎటువంటి operations, ఎటువంటి machines మనకి ఈ static electricity generate చేస్తాయి అంటే, touching and rubbing on hand or plastic handrails. This is also one of the activity, the humans also a source of generation of the static electricity. And walking on a dry floors, that is also one reason. And flow through a long pipelines of a small diameter, increase in diameter reduces the static charge, because the friction or the force which is between the pipeline and the media which is passing through also will depend on the accumulation. And as a friction reduces of the same flow and flow through filters or valves, and stirring of liquid at the bottoms and splash filling. So that's why if you see for all the chemical factories or the tanks or reactors, they will have the dip leg. Dip leg in the sense, till the bottom of the reactor, they will have a pipeline for the filling of the raw materials or chemicals to avoid the splash filling. Splash filling in the sense, from the top you will leave the material. This dip leg will be used to avoid the splash filling so that we can avoid the static electricity. Dip leg అంటే ఏంటంటే ఒక పైప్ అనేది రియాక్టర్ బాటమ్ వరకు ఉంటుందన్నమాట, కింద వరకు. సో దట్ ఏంటంటే అక్కడ మనకి స్ప్లాష్ ఫీలింగ్ అంటే మెటీరియల్ ని పైనుంచి పోయకుండా కింద నుంచి ఇవ్వడం వల్ల, అంటే పైనుంచి ఆల్మోస్ట్ బాటమ్ వరకు ఇవ్వడం వల్ల మనం స్ప్లాష్ ఫీలింగ్ అనేది అవాయిడ్ చేసి ఈ యొక్క స్టాటిక్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీని అవాయిడ్ చేయొచ్చు. The two phases like liquid and solid, solid and gas, or air and gas and solid and flows. These are the different kinds of the media, I can say, or the form of material. If you can interact with each other, then there is a chance of generation. And loose floating objects, this is also one of the operation or activity. There is a chance for generation of this static electricity. Then flow of air stream, wet or gas, through a opening of a hose or pipe, or I can say leakage also is one of the reason it can generate. And directing airflow or near electronic equipment, and putting and moving of synthetic materials and near electronic equipment, and putting on and off with a jerk synthetic shirts, like synthetic material. If your clothing or if your bed sheets, if your wear clothes which are made of any synthetic materials, then there is a high chance of generation of this static electricity. The combing of hair and process of mixing and agitation, and rapid flow of powders and pellets and tablets through a chutes or pipeline. Chutes in the sense it's like in a hopper, it's in a cloth kind of media, or the way which you use for the sending of material. It may be sometimes metallic as well, or plastic also. Now we'll see what are the machines which will generating static charge. So as usual, as I mentioned in the initial slides, the rollers and the roller contact of dissimilar surfaces, or moving belt or conveyor, and also the running of non-conductive flat belts and pulleys, and pulverizing machines where the pulverized material passes on surfaces. The pulverized machines will be like making a powder from solid or from granules to making a powder, and long conveyor belts moving on the support rollers, like it is a belt conveyor, a long conveyor which will carrying of material from one place to another end, that also will generate. And feed hoppers, xylos, and also the pneumatic conveyor where a material slides on surfaces. So wherever there is an interaction of material with a other dissimilar material, there is a chance. As a simple example, we can understand that wherever two dissimilar materials which are constantly contacting and carrying or rubbing or sliding on one another, you will get a static generation. Okay, now we have seen I mean couple of examples how it will get generated. Now we'll see what are the hazards with this. Hazard in the sense దీని వల్ల ఉండే ప్రమాదాలు, and then controls, how we can control this static electricity. With respect to hazards, it is more, or which is mostly affecting the process areas of chemicals and also petrochemicals which are born to fire hazard. That is the first and last, I mean major the point of concern to think about this static electricity. If you see, the static electricity is frequently generated, but mostly it is not hazardous because it is too weak, or leaks off as fast as it is generated. So it is so dangerous. The similar way, it will discharges very faster. So it takes for half an hour to generate. Maybe within a half a minute or half a second, it may discharge. So it is very weak. It generates and discharges, generates and discharges, generates and discharges. For its last leaking or bypass, for the fast leakage or bypassing, we need a good conductor. So that's why people used to keep, they used to keep the static discharge pads. They used to hang on the chains for discharging of the energy which is generated in the production facilities. If you see specifically about this hazards, as a rubber is a bad conductor, it is a good insulator. Other way of telling it, first ఏంటంటే ఒక bad conductor అంటాము. Other way లో opposite word ఏంటంటే good insulator of electricity. It accumulates static electricity to a high degree. Fires in a rubber industry are mostly due to the discharge of such heavy static charges. So rubber will maybe it in the form of a powder in a physical condition, in a solid state. Maybe they'll do a powder to make it to melt the rubber. In that case, due to the high accumulation, due to the discharge, it may catch fire. If required is not grounded, if equipment is not grounded, static charges will continue to accumulate on its till it will discharge as a spark. Therefore, grounding by a steel plate or copper wire is necessary. That's why we always look for a grounding apart from static electricity for the general take for the return for the proper good earthing to avoid the short or the leakage current, to avoid the electric shock. And then lightning from the sky is nothing but a discharge to earth on enormous static charges generated and also accumulated between the layers of the air and the clouds in the atmosphere. This is also happened because of the water vapor in the cloud and also the clouds, the air in between. Due to that, it get interacted together, then the chance of the thunder will generate, then it will get discharges. Some specific hazards is shock if the spark is not generated and also discharges surface not grounded, touched by the human body. It will be shock in the sense you can feel it just shocking sensation. It is not like an electric shock. And fire or explosion if the spark is generated due to discharge of static charge into a flammable atmosphere. And readings are distorted or changed in sensitive instruments. And dust deposition on the charged surfaces. If it is a dust deposition charged surfaces, there is a chance of if it is in a flammable dust. Or like I can say, if you are working in any coal factory or if you're working in any grain processing or if you're working in any coffee manufacturing, so there the powders or the dust are chances of in a combustible nature. So in that case also there may be a high chance to have a fire incidents. And clogging or obstruction of free flow of powders in chutes or silos or hoppers. Now we'll see controls. We have seen the hazards. Now we'll try to understand how we can control it. అంటే ఎలా జనరేట్ అవుతుంది? ఫ్రిక్షన్, కొలిజన్ వల్ల, సపరేషన్ వల్ల జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. నాన్ కండక్టివ్ మెటీరియల్స్ ఎక్కువగా యూజ్ చేయడం వల్ల జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. ప్రాపర్గా ఏదైతే ఎక్విప్మెంట్స్ ని ప్రాపర్గా ఎర్తింగ్ ఇవ్వకపోవడం వల్ల మనకి స్టాటిక్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. దాంతోపాటుగా డిసిమిలర్ మెటీరియల్స్ అనేవి ప్రాసెస్లో యూజ్ చేయడం వల్ల జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. If you see a controls, a sequence to combat a static electricity includes following steps. So for this also there is a process, like how we have seen hazard hierarchy control, like elimination, engineering control, substitution control, then administrative control and PPE. The similar way here also we have a hierarchy to control this static electricity. So one is prevent the charge generation. So we try to have the conductive materials in place, and we try to have the work clothing is conductive, it is not going to generate. And if it is not possible, prevent its accumulation. So accumulation, once it is generated, we will use conductive materials so that what will happen, whenever it gets generated, you can discharge immediately. So we'll use proper earthing or even portable, they use the wrist strips for the discharge while loading or powder. Then if this is also not possible, prevent discharge from being hazardous. So once we have to stop the generation, if you're not able to stop, you'll stop the accumulation. There also you're not able to do it, then you'll have a safe discharge. So you should not wait the energy to discharge in such a way, it will generate a spark. Then prevent formation of flammable atmosphere near possibility of static electricity. So this is the critical area. So if you are not able to do the serial number 1 and serial number 2 and serial number 3, the major portion is wherever you have or chances to generate a static electricity, there you should avoid the generation of flammable atmosphere. Flammable atmosphere in the sense the leakage of any gas or spillage of any solvents, which is generating the vapors, so which can ignite by the discharging of this static electricity. Then some of the other concerns will be earthing, so grounding and the bonding of equipments or pipe joints, flanges and parts. So if you can see any chemical pipelines or the solvents or flammable liquids, they used to have the static jumpers on the each flange, from one flange to other flange. They used to keep this static jumpers so that it will not accumulate at any one junction. It is going to continue and the pipeline is going to connect with the earthing so that it will get diluted or it will get discharged. Otherwise, what will happen? Any one specific flange, it will get keep on generating. Whenever there is a leak in that specific flange, due to that leakage, there will be a chance of catching or creating an accident. And increasing the conductness of the floors and footwear, wheels and types of personal and also moving equipment. So it will increase the conductiveness, which means the acceptance of the allowing the energy which is generated. So what will happen if it is a conductive floor? What will happen? Whatever the energy generated, it get diluted. I'm telling in other way around, it's get discharged. And even footwear also, anti-static footwear, which is other way of telling is conductive footwear. And wheels, if they're using any wheels for the for the trolleys and etc. And increasing the conductivity of a non-conductors by conductive additives, surface layers and also films, and then humidification of the atmosphere. So how will you can increase the conductivity? Conductivity is nothing but, for example, allowing of charges. Copper, it is a good conductor. Wood or rubber, it is a bad conductor because they won't allow the electrons to pass on. Then humidification, increasing the water percentage, the water vapor percentage in the atmosphere. That also will suppress the accumulation. Then increasing the conductivity of the atmosphere by ionizing, then using anti-static and also conductive materials and static eliminators, and earthing of the moving machineries. Wherever there is a moving machinery, rotating parts, those are properly earthed so that there will not be any generation of static electricity. Then use of anti-static belts and also anti-static dressing to a non-conductive belts at the regular intervals. And all the tanks and vessels, pipelines containing solvents or any flammable liquids or gases should be separately earthed. So it is not going to have any mixed earthing. It should have a separate earthing for the separate tanks. And also bonding of the pipelines at the flanges joint necessary unless a metallic contact and it is between the flanges. Sometimes what will happen, they use the gaskets of metallic gaskets. Sometimes they use Teflon, sometimes they use rubber, sometimes they use other kind of gaskets. So it depends on the type of gasket which you are using in between the pipeline. It is going to vary the arrangement you have done for the continuity of the static electricity. ఏమవుతుందంటే pipeline మధ్యలో మనము రకరకాలైన gaskets యూజ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఒకవేళ మెటాలిక్ అయితే దాని మనకు అవసరం ఉండదు, లేదు టెఫ్లాన్ కానీ రబ్బర్ కానీ ఏదైనా ప్లాస్టిక్ అదర్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ మెటీరియల్ మన గ్యాస్ కట్ యూజ్ చేసినట్టే నాన్ కండక్టివ్ మెటీరియల్ గ్యాస్ కట్ యూజ్ చేసినప్పుడు మనం ఇక్కడ స్టాటిక్ జంపర్స్ అనేది పెట్టుకోవడానికి ఆస్కారం ఉంది. అండ్ ట్యాంక్ ఆర్ వైగన్స్ అండ్ రోడ్ ట్యాంకర్ షుడ్ బి ఎర్త్ వైల్ లోడింగ్ అండ్ అన్లోడింగ్ విత్ ఫ్లేమబుల్ లిక్విడ్ ఆర్ గ్యాస్ అండ్ రైల్ ట్యాంక్ షుడ్ బి ఎర్త్ అండ్ ఆల్సో jumpers to be provided to connect the rail to the rail. So it is about the discharge because the tankers will come to our premises from longer durations due to the friction between the rubber and the road. Definitely there is a generation. So that's why they used to have the crocodile clips for the discharging. Even the crocodile clips also we have to put on unpainted area because the paint is in a insulating material. It is an insulator. So there the conductivity will not come. Wherever there is an unpainted area, so there we have to apply this, the crocodile clips for the proper discharge. And while pumping the flammable liquids in tanks, the inlet pipe should be extended and also discharged at the bottom of the tank. And along a feed pipeline or inner limpet for this purpose is desirable. At this time, it is advisable to maintain an inert gas blanketing and flow velocity should be restricted. What will happen while pumping? the flammable liquids in tanks, the inlets and discharge should be have a proper feeding. And also we have to see the inert blanketing. Inert blanketing in the sense we put any halons or any CO2 or nitrogen atmosphere, so that in case of any spark generated also, it is not going to ignite. And a pipe and also nozzle of the steam or water should be bonded while tank cleaning and steaming. And liquid spillage and also dust deposits should be removed as early as possible. And good ventilation and also good housekeeping are necessary to prevent the flammable concentrations. So this is also one of the control we can use for the prevention of this static electricity. You can see this is the pictorial representation of the controls, that loading and unloading of road tankers. While plastic containers, if it is required, it has to be earthed properly. Then insulating plastic materials, a metal barrel required an earthing so that it will get discharges. Then it is an equalizing conductors, some drum pump to the drum required earthing, how it is shifting from 1 to 1. Then insulating plastic materials, this can be also done an earthing. And if you see the reactors which they are using for the reaction purposes, then this is about the vessels and measures the vessel reactors both should be earthed. So if it is feeding from a vessel to the reactor, this both has to be earthed properly. Okay, if you can see here, these are the couple of the visible are the tools we use for the discharging of static electricity. These are the wristbands. The people who are working on any feeding of material or any packaging, they used to use this wrist strap, and it will connect it to the near earthing so that it will get discharges. And these are the touch pads they use for the discharge of electricity. And these are the conductive flooring or the mats. And these are the buckle or crocodile clips they used to have with the road tankers or the loading and unloading area. Okay. So we have 6 minutes. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Otherwise, in the second class, we'll start with a new topic. Any questions?
Sir, once show me a introduction topic.
Okay. From where you joined? From which slide? Hello. Yes, Manor. From which slide you have joined?
Exactly don't know, but I need first introduction topic.
And this is the first slide, and this is this. From here we started exactly the core PPT starts from here. You are here.
Once show me introduction, sir.
This is the introduction slide. From here only we have started.
Yes, sir. This one, not this one.
Okay. This one.
No, sir. Back, sir. First one, one or two section. Yes.
Okay. Are you taking the screenshots?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's okay, no problem. Ultimately, you'll get the PPT. The PDF itself, you'll get the PDF, no problem. Okay. Apart from that, any questions? So maybe the following, I'll tell you the second class topic. So second, in the next session, we'll be discussing about this work at height. Okay. So that is going to be a big topic. I think we couldn't able to complete, or better we can choose in a small topic which can able to finish in one class. We can discuss on electrical hazards. Yeah, we'll discuss on electrical hazards in this session. That will be good.
So there is important, I mean, questions and answers in this topic.
So basically here the important questions in the sense there will be a chance of getting what are the I mean how is what is mean by static electricity and how it can be discharged, and you can they may ask for mostly short answer only. Here the long answer will be very rare. So here they may ask you what are the different ways of generation of static electricity, and also they may ask you what are the various controls we can implement. How they ask is they ask you to write generation hazards against the control measures. So what we have discussed, such a way they can ask a question. Mostly in this short answer only you will get 3 marks question. Otherwise, altogether they may keep it as for long answer.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, then if no question, we'll close. Then we can join in the second class. Okay, thank you. You'll get 2 minutes extra break. Even me too. Shall we wind up the session? Okay.